Hello and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Friday, September 28th. This is our fourth recording of today because of an electrical issue that caused me not to be able to stream on Wednesday, and I was already behind on Wednesday with all the news. As far as daily quests though, I think I may very well have missed a daily quest on each account. That sucks, certainly. But I've caught up on everything that I could do, except for I need to play 30 mage class cards, and very possibly I will get that daily quest done and then have kind of nothing to do, and we'll just play ranked in one of the accounts, probably the Americas account, just for just to cover the rest of the news. So let's hop right into the news. We have a Gematsu article, Dragon Quest Builders 2 details Monzola Island setting and more evolved building elements. Now the funny thing here is, unless I am heavily mistaken, Dragon Quest Builders 1 only came out at most 6 months ago, so it's pretty confusing as far as why this is a sequel is already in development coming out. Dragon's Quest Builders is a half Stardew Valley, half Minecraft clone. It didn't seem like it got a lot of very happy responses from people who have actually played the game. That it was just kind of a Minecraft clone is all I ever heard about it. It looks polished, certainly. I mean, you've got, I believe, Square Enix behind it. No, Koei Tecmo behind it. But even the sequel still looks just like a Minecraft clone. And it clearly seems like it is trying to sell itself as just a Minecraft clone. And I don't think that even Minecraft is that popular these days for that to make sense. Moving on, we have a game on Steam called Pig Eat Ball, which has some very large, grotesque animals and creatures of some sort flying around. I mean, this is really surreal, psychedelic stuff I'm seeing. I'm having a hard time even really deciding what kind of game it is. It seems like there are several different levels where you fly around in different areas and you're trying to defeat enemies, and so it's like a top-down shooter boss fight game of some sort.
Someday I'll be just like you.
Let's see.
Me?
Yeah, I don't know about this game. It just looks so weird. It's 10% off for $13.49, and Pig Eat Ball just looks so weird that I don't see how I could even begin to want to play it.
Not quite what was planned.
But it is from a developer who made Serious Sam Double D XXL. I guess I'll put this on the wish list and just see what the crowd says, what general people think, if they think this is a really great game or not. There's only 2 reviews right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if neither one of them are. Well, they're both positive.
What to do?
So yeah, I'll just keep an eye on that one. Let's see.
Someday I'll be just like you.
Draw cards. And play that. And draw a secret or freeze attack. And do this.
Runs out on me.
An incredible discovery. Me?
The Apple II computer, somebody hacked into it a Wi-Fi driver, and so that you could actually, if you're, I assume, running a emulator of the Apple II, it can now connect via Wi-Fi chips. Probably not too many Apple II games out there that people are going to try to emulate directly through their through that process. There's almost certainly easier ways to do that. Like the original Myst game was an Apple II game, but I doubt very many people would want to play it like that. I doubt very many people would want to play the original version of Myst. Moving on, Gamatsu has an article, Mercenary Wings, The False Phoenix for PS4 launches October 10th in Japan. A Switch version for the Nintendo eShop is already launched today. Let's see. They do have plans to localize the Switch versions in the West, but have not announced a PlayStation 4 version of this. And this looks like a tactics RPG, strategy RPG game of some sort. Let's play this.
Job's done.
There we go. Let's see. The cell phone game Fire Emblem Heroes adds the legendary hero Tiki. This is for iOS and Android. Almost once a month you get something more about Fire Emblem Heroes. So it's not really interesting. And I lost everybody. That's a shame. But I think I did everything I needed to do.
I found it first.
In the turn, okay, moving on. TechRaptor, this story has actually probably been updated a little bit. TechRaptor has a quote, parentheses, bracket, update. The Walking Dead final season delisted from all storefronts. The update here says it seems not all stores have taken heed to Telltale's request to stop selling The Walking Dead the final season, as Nintendo Switch eShop still has it up for sale. Whether this is because Nintendo not getting the word certain times that the eShop are able to update, or refusal to delist is anyone's guess at this point. So, in a weird way, I probably was still gonna buy the final season of The Walking Dead. The fact that they have now delisted it makes that impossible, and then that really just does put me into a point of, well, geez, the only way I can play the final season is if I pirate it, and then what's the point of me playing and pirating a game on YouTube when nobody else can easily and legally do the same? And so what's the point of criticizing a product that's not available for sale? If anything, The Walking Dead Season 3, The New Frontier, is now the new final season, and I have already recorded all of that. Let's see. Before getting any further, those who have already purchased the Season Pass will be able to download and access the game tonight. Anyone hoping to hop aboard the sinking ship, though, is currently being left high and dry. So that might be a good thing. You could take it as a potential good thing. the decision to delist it and not just take people's money and rip them off is a slight indicator that somewhere in the background there are talks going on where where they might get the entire product finished and re-released in maybe a year or so, and then we have a complete story and at least a product that is worth selling, because right now in its form it isn't worth selling, and they're right to say we shouldn't be selling this because it's just going to end on the season 2, the episode 2 cliffhanger. The Good Old Games webpage has a quote that says, Telltale has requested a temporary pause of sales of The Walking Dead final season. For all up-to-date Telltale news, please refer to their official Twitter page. Let's see. For those who have already purchased the Seasons Pass and wanting to get a refund, it seems there are plenty of conflicting reports on all platforms whether refunds are or are not being granted. At this point, the most consistent response is from Good Old Game, who isn't refunding the purchase. Which, that kind of sucks, and there hasn't been a long list of reasons to not buy things on Good Old Games. The main reason to not buy things on Good Old Games is that they didn't have a client app for a long time, and they don't have a complete selection, and they are curating, and they will delist or not list games that they don't agree with politically, but they haven't been so extreme with that their curation of their storefront is just extremely small or inhospitable to differing opinioned players. But by far the worst thing you could do is just refuse to refund. But then also Good Old Games sells itself on not having DRM, so once you buy a game and you download it, they probably would refuse to refund anything, because there's really no way to prove that you didn't make a copy and keep a copy and then want your money back. But they need to probably find a middle ground there of maybe one refund per quarter on a game before you start getting investigated. Moving on, we have a game called Cthulhu Mythos RPG, The Sleeping Girl of the Miasma Sea. That's quite rhymey. Interesting name. It's probably a little too long, but it's certainly somebody put some effort into it. Unfortunately, the game itself looks like it's just an RPG Maker 8-bit style game. Yeah, I see nothing here that really interests me at all. 10% for $5.39. Nope. No thank you. Close that tab.
Is there trouble?
Let's do this. And do this. Gamma Sutra has an article, Pokemon's Secret Ingredient. This is probably more of an editorial than I'm willing to read right now. Or it might be an interview. Yeah, if you're interested in Pokemon, that's fine. I think the secret ingredient about Pokemon is it's just kids first RPG, and it sort of was the first kids first RPG game.
Speak to me.
There were certainly a lot of competitors like Digimon and Yokai Watch and several other things that tried to copy it and didn't succeed as well. The family friendliness of Nintendo helped it keep its appeal. The major push of advertising in multiple fields, comic books, TV shows, movies, just probably some radio dramas. It kept Pokemon everywhere and in the minds of every kid, so yeah. Just really good marketing happened. And that has kept Pokemon going as far as it's gone, which it's gone pretty far. It's I think reached a Mickey Mouse status, which is both a good and a bad thing, because it's hardly the case that a lot of people really want or are interested in Mickey Mouse these days, but everybody kind of knows who he is. Let's play this first.
I'm game.
Let's see.
Wow.
Moving on, Gamasutra, the GLAAD Media Awards, GLAAD, as the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, adds an award for outstanding LGBTQ-inclusive games. Let's see. Does the dash mean anything, or is that just a hyphen at the end of the sentence? It's just hyphenated as one word. It's LGBTQ -inclusive. I don't believe that's proper English.
I will silence this scream. I don't have enough mana.
Bring the pain.
I'm game.
Unravel. My hand is too full. Not quite what was planned.
The new, quote, outstanding video game category gives game developers a way to submit their own work for recognition alongside LGBTQ inclusive television, film, music, journalism, and more in the upcoming 30th award show. Let's see. They've already opened submissions. Submissions will be closed on November 23rd. And see, this is kind of the beginning of a story, and that's really all you can say here, because you kind of know for a fact what's going to happen is whoever wins that award, there is going to be an amount of people that disagree with who won and for some reason and complain.
Unravel.
Like there's no way you could pick any character.
My hand is too full.
Well, let's see. Who would I pick? Because you have to, if it's going to be of any fairness, it really has to limit it to 2018 games. And so, what is the most inclusive or outstanding video game out there? It's going to be almost certainly some reviewer or mainstream video game media's darling game like Butterfly Soup or Dream Dad Dating Simulator. Yeah, I can't really think of anything else.
Is there trouble?
It's not going to be a mainstream game because I don't think there's been even a mainstream AAA game that has had a character creator in 2018. It would be pretty pathetic if you gave it to something like Mass Effect Andromeda, for as awful as that game was. So yeah, that's the beginning of the story. We don't really need to speculate too much. We'll see it devolve into a mistake pretty quickly.
I dream and
or a fight. I don't know if it's really going to be a mistake. Moving on, we have a game called 000: Ascension, as best as how I can describe it. It's either 000 or lowercase o, capital O, lowercase o. Let's see. They're saying it was a TIGA finalist and BAFTA nominee. I know what BAFTA is, I've never heard of TIGA. And this is some kind of like fast-paced racer around a 3D sphere. Well, several 3D spheres. As some kind of racing game where the spheres are moving and there's dangerous events happening. Single player, local multiplayer, local co-op, no online multiplayer. 20 Steam achievements. It's 10% off for $8.99. This is an interesting enough concept that I think I want to keep an eye on it and just see if it does manage to do something that that hasn't been seen before.
I shall bring you rest.
So yeah, I'll wish this game and see. Gamasutra has an article: smartphone and TV casting coming to Oculus Go. I think we'll just leave it at that. We already talked about Telltale pulling The Walking Dead from digital storefronts. I imagine they're also probably pulling them from shelves. Gamasutra has a report here. Says report: Telltale was in funding talks one day before majority shutdown. That seems to be the ruling. Variety is saying it was the South Korean developer Smilegate and the US media outfit AMC that were mulling over the possibility of investing in the studios instead of Lionsgate, which that was what I had heard of before.
Not quite what was planned.
Someone did point out that, you know, it's a little cynical to say this, but it is not impossible that movie, TV, and competing industries to video games, like music, movies, TVs, books, anything that takes people's entertainment time up, is competing against video games, including like comic books and such. It wouldn't be insane to question if somebody maybe strategically funded / strategically pulled their funding just to shut down a company and use that as a way of saying, oh yeah, video games are nothing, they're all big failures, look at what happened to Telltale. And in particular, Telltale's case, I mean, they were really selling themselves on a cinematic experience with very little interactivities, a lot more than most video game companies. So that they were the closest equivalent to a competitor to movies and TV. Let's see, I guess we'll just come over here and play ranked and see if maybe we can get up to rank 18. I did want to see, why is this my new favorite? I guess it just is, because this is the Boomsday Project puzzles, and I really hated the way the Lemonade looked. Let's see, a generous gift from the innkeeper. He loves Is guest having good time? Play 3 matches against players at a fireside gathering. When did I do that? Let's see. I have several of these quest cards. Whatever. Nobody cares about card backs. Let's hop in here, and I don't want to play Paladin. I guess I'll play Spiteful Priest because that was one that I think was working. I may not actually have a story here, but I do believe a developer or somebody who worked on a different game is giving some money out of their own kindness and generosity to the employees who were laid off from Telltale. That's good. I still 100% believe, though, while there are good people out there, there is no such thing as a good investor. No investor in their right mind would have invested in Telltale and then paid severance to all of those employees. Maybe they would have invested in Telltale and said, hey, why don't you guys come back and work for us and we'll pay you for the time you lost. But that would be a major investment to keep Telltale in name, at least, if not different management in business. Nobody's going to just give money to employees who aren't going to add anything to the company or product as an investor. So the only help with investment was to finish The Walking Dead, the final season, and turn that into a product that would actually make some money and stop the bleeding of money, which I'm assuming that they have been bleeding money for a long time and probably still are. And at the end of the day, I'm willing to even push my opinion a little bit further, and I kind of feel like consumers should win. In court cases, this is often like if you have a Second Amendment right or a First Amendment right, clearly it's been determined that the First Amendment right trumps a Second Amendment right. And just to use 2 random examples, like the Constitution is written chronologically to state that that is the case. So if any amendment or was added to the Constitution giving a new right to people, it would be the least right compared to all the previous rights. So what this comes down to in my thinking is that I think the consumers should have a consumer's right to have a finished product that they pre-purchased and been promised should trump an employee's right, because kind of the employees, whether they realized it or not, they probably did some things over their employment there that helped Telltale go bankrupt. So I think consumers should just trump employees' rights in this case, and it just kind of has to be that way. And I can say that, whereas a lot of the mainstream video game media refuses to say that, or even think about it as a potential thing that's possible, because so much of the mainstream video game media is so cronyistic and in bed with and friends with developers of the video games that their perception is just not objective. Like, and I would say, like, if you were to say that the consumer's rights should be upheld over an employee's rights, I'm technically not a consumer in this instance at all, because I didn't pre-order the final season. So it really would just boil down to maybe in a court case where where
Let me change your mind.
they find that there's some amount of money, and they argue, well, that money should go to severance to the employees, and they said, and a judge would probably, I don't know how the bankruptcy judge would really determine this, but they would probably give the money to refund people who had pre-ordered the game. Or refund the storefronts that bought the game, that refunded the game before it went to the employees. Arguably then, the money, if there was even more money and everybody had been refunded who had pre-ordered and purchased The Walking Dead final season, and say all the consumers have been satisfied and refunded as much as possible, arguably even at that point, employees would not be high on the list of people who should get paid back, because there's other investors that I imagine investors have lobbied or gotten more rights than the employees do. Like, I imagine employees are probably the least smallest creditor of any possible creditor that you would have. And there certainly is also another point in that being brought up, that nobody even asked if they were due severance. They just assumed that they were. The argument from the mainstream video game media, and I don't want to get into a huge rant here, just always started from the first step that the employees would do severance. Where I've worked, jobs I've had, I have never gotten severance. So it's not a guaranteed thing everywhere in the United States. So I don't know why in California they think that they're automatically do it. And yeah, I could continue this rant and say, you know, you're probably need to come back to reality and realize that there's a lot of people who get laid off or fired all the time and don't get severance. And at the very least, you are getting paid a relatively decent check compared to the people begging on the streets or flipping burgers at a restaurant. Moving on though, we have a game on Steam called Wandering Owl. It looks like a cheaply made platformer game. Yeah, it doesn't look very good at all, and oddly monotonic. Yeah. It seems like 90% of every screenshot is blue for no reason. Yep. It's an English and Russian game, so I think it's probably just a cheap Russian troll game. $3.99. I wouldn't be surprised if every single game I've suspected of being a Russian troll game were made actually by the same person over and over again.
Meddlesome insects. You are the Shadow's puppets.
Next we have a game on Steam called Snowball Save Summer. It's another low effort looking bad platforming game. This one's English only for $9.99. Ridiculous. Close that tab. Let's see. Let's move. We don't need to talk about that again. We have a game on Steam called Johnny Rocket, which is a black and white pencil drawing looking game. It's actually animated very fast. I'm not sure if this is a not sure if this really is a game or not, or if this is just a almost Stickman-esque just animation.
Awaken, my children. Beware of shadow.
says it's an early access game. It's $9.99. I feel like there's probably not enough here for it to be $10. It does say it's showing some gamepad control, so it is a game, but it was flowing so fast that it really felt like it wasn't. Like the only language I have that says it's even in my language is actually in Russian. I would just have to say this game's price tag is too high for what they're offering. So yeah, close Johnny Rocket. Sadly, I lost 2. It feels like that Japanese developers are getting more into Kickstarter, which may be a good or a bad thing. It's probably a bad thing. But Gamatsu has an article, Kickstarter campaign launched for futuristic action platformer Bushidin for PS4 and PC. That's BUSHIDN. It looks like a Super NES-esque samurai platformer, Metroidvania type game. It doesn't look awful, certainly, but it is also a Kickstarter, so I would never recommend anybody support a Kickstarter. If it comes out, if it gets funded, if it turns out to be a good game, that's the time to talk about it, not when somebody is just begging for money to make it. Next game we have on Steam is called Vox Machina, M-A-C-H-I-N-A-E, first word Vox, V-O-X. Let's see. Is this a VR game? It's a mech game, yeah, in VR. So you get inside the cockpit of a walking mech, and I think you walk around and you shoot probably other mechs and a few other things. Every screenshot is relatively pretty. But I'm not sure there's a real game here. It's $24.99. All these mech games are really, really expensive. And I think that just leaves, at that price, me out as far as, even if this is a really good game, which it very possibly would be. I'm not into mechs so much that I would actually want to pay $25 for it. And if I was going to do something, it would probably be a mech Gundam game instead, not just some random game that has no history or relevance to it. We have a game on Steam called Night Magic. It's tech action adventure indie. To me it looks like it might be a point-and-click adventure game with a lot of puzzles. Looking at all the screenshots, it seems like maybe it's all puzzles. Like every single screenshot is just puzzles, except for one, and there's no video, and it's an English and Russian game again for 33% off, and making it $2.67. So yeah, that's not impressive. Close that tab. We have a game on Steam called Land of Endless Journey, which looks like it's probably just a forced asset flip game. But then it says it has math puzzles, and then the way you solve the math puzzles is you go through mazes that look like asset flip mazes.
Is someone injured? You are the Shadow's puppets.
Yeah, any one of these mazes would work well in like something like Skyrim. In fact, they would fit quite well in something like Skyrim, where you're trying to escape a path. Of course, they really need a backup solution if you mess up the puzzles. But that's all this game is walking through several differently animated, but not drastically differently animated, basically hedge mazes. It's 20% off for $7.99. Let's see. I guess for its unique idea, I'll put this on the wish list and just keep an eye on it. But I imagine in the next couple years of time, nobody will ever play this game and rate it, and I'll just take it right back off the wish list. Which I should just, at this point, call it the watch list, because that's really all it is. Okay. Next we have a game on Steam called Cat Fu Me. That's CAT space FU space MI. Says it's a cute casual puzzle game with cats. The game mechanism is basically based upon rock, paper, scissors, but you can't rely on your luck to win. You have to understand your opponent and be clever to finish the game. Perfect for kids and casual gamers. Yeah, this is really dumb as a concept. It's 20% off for $2.39. Maybe if it was 69 cents, I could say something nicer about it, but no, it just seems like it's a very low effort game. Let's go with do that. Gamatsu has an article. Square Enix announces its New York NYCC 2018 lineup. I assume that's New York Comic Con. Yeah, that's what it is. Kingdom Hearts 3, The Last Remnant Remastered, and more. Just Cause 4 Developer Showcase, Dragon Quest 11, Echoes of the Elusive Age, Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition, Final Fantasy Trading Card Game, Just Cause 4, Kingdom Hearts 3, The Last Remnant Remastered, Life is Strange 2, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider is what they'll be talking about at Comic-Con, which is certainly questionable why anybody is talking about video games at Comic-Con at all, but whatever.
Meddlesome insects.
Next we have a game called The Desert Rose, which says it's a virtual reality game. Seems like you have a sword and you can run around and swing your sword and knock some barrels over. The animation style is a little too CG and cartoony for VR. I feel like you have to go for very hyper-realistic graphics if you're going to do a VR game. See how much they want. It's early access, it's free, so the price is right. But it also really is just a VR demo with some fancy asset flips in the areas that it is in. Like even walking outside of the room that you start in to the outside is drastically different animation styles. And let's see. Wish I'd stop losing, but whatever. Not paying enough attention clearly. We already talked about WildStar shutting down. We have a game AS plus CE&D, a space shooter, 3D space shooter of some kind. It looks better than a lot of the low effort games, certainly, but it's one of these fully 3D Quake style shooter games with omnidirectional combat that I never liked those kind of games. They just cause motion sickness. So I'm out for that one. It's early access. It's 20% off for $3.99. It's probably not gonna catch enough people's attention. It's the first game from this developer. That certainly would not be what I think you should make for your first release. Next we have Nephilim, if I'm reading that right, Nifffelheim. Let's see. You're an avatar. Your avatar is the brave warrior who's fallen in battle, but instead of finding well-deserved peace in Asgard, his soul is trapped in the harsh world of Niflheim. Survive in the hostile world, ransack the neighboring lands, and explore dangerous dungeons to find your way to Asgard, I guess. I didn't think you went to Asgard. I thought you went to Valhalla if you died in battle. So I don't know if it's really isn't has this story straight. This also is apparently available on Apple. The intro videos are not really showing what the game is, so I'm gonna skip. It kind of looks like a nicely animated characters and backgrounds with a low effort made interface and UI. So there seems like there's a slight disconnect there. It's a 2D flat side-scrolling hack and slash game as best as I can tell. Seems like you have 6 inventory slots. They seem to be working on the theme of several different buildings that look like they are animals carved out of stone. So I imagine for all the polish done on those buildings, those are like dungeon entrances, and that probably indicates that there's only 3 or 4 dungeons. It does kind of feel like an effort to do something like a Diablo game. And it's got multiplayer and online multiplayer of some sort. It's 10% off for $17.99.
Your magic shall not save you.
Let me see. The thing to ask here is, has this developer developed anything else that would back this game up or give it any credibility? As far as I can tell.
I wonder.
Yeah. Let's see.
Die, mage.
The best I can tell is this is somewhat affiliated to this other game called the Tiny Bang Story, not to be confused with the Tiny Big Story, which is a much better game, I would guess, which was given away for free. But as far as how Steam is listing it, it's not the same developer or publisher, but they're still somehow implying a connection.
Tortola, preserve
just keep on playing. Moving on, TechRaptor has a review for Transference. I bet it's pretty bad. Everybody I've heard says the game's not really that good. Ooh, this is surprising. 8.5 from TechRaptor on Transference. Great. Summary: Transference combines a fantastic story with great acting and smart puzzles for the experience that manages to really stand out from the crowd. Plus, fantastic stories, great puzzles, impressive acting, captivating atmosphere, good use of VR. Maybe they didn't play it on the PC where the VR did not work at all. The cons are clunky, mildly clunky controls, not enough puzzles, monsters, doesn't feel threatening. Let's see. And it says, yes, they reviewed it on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation VR using a copy provided by the publishers. So, yes, maybe on the PlayStation VR it is a much better game. But having inconsistent reviews across different platforms is no way to release a product, certainly. Next we have a game on Steam called Battlerite Royale. Clearly this is a attempt at being a Fortnite clone in every way. And it's mostly positive. 70% of 630 user reviews came out September 26th. Seems like you're playing as fantasy style characters of some sort, or yeah, I would say fantasy style characters. Here's the question though, like, of the people who like Fortnite, how many of them are willing to jump to a new game? Of the people who have grown tired of hearing about Fortnite and now hate Fortnite, how many of them are willing to play a Fortnite clone? I'm not sure there's really a market there. Like, I really don't. I think Fortnite's gonna have its audience until it gets shut down, and anybody that tries to copy Fortnite again is going to fail pretty miserably. Like, Fortnite was the only one that was capable of copying PUBG, and now they're gonna stay ahead of the patch and ahead of the pack, and I don't think anybody can catch up with them. And H1Z1, for example, is going to become forgotten about it. Apparently this is based on the game Battlerite, which I guess that is its own game. Let's see if we can find the reviews on Battlerite. Yeah, Battlerite came out November 6, 2017, and it's 84% positive of 46,711 reviews. So a lot of people played Battlerite, and this developer has a list of games that are reviewed well. So maybe, I doubt it, but maybe Battlerite Royale could take the third slot and makes a profit from that. Next we have a game on Steam called Rainfall, which is a real-time strategy game with elements of city building and third-person action, according to the description. To me, what it looks like is a very cel-shaded, cartoony looking asset flip game with like 3 ideas that maybe would have worked. This game is oddly available in English, French, and Chinese. It's 15% off for $8.49. I don't see anything interesting in it. It's also early access. I think at this point, anything I mention should be considered early access on Steam, since I'm looking at the newest games added to Steam, and everything, or a significant amount of everything, is coming out on Steam. Mystery Exile, already obviously going to be on my wish list. That in particular is a game I really want to play. Unfortunately, I don't know if I have any budget now that I've had these major electrical problems that I'm gonna have to pay for. So, like, basically getting, I would say, 80% of all the electrical components in my house replaced. That's certainly gonna cut into video game budgets for a long time. So yeah, I'm not sure that I'll even get to a Steam summer sale next year and buy anything then. There's not too much to say about Myst 3 Exile. If you've played Myst 1 and you like that, if you played Riven, the sequel to Myst, and you like that, then you should play Myst 3 Exiles. Arguably, it might even be worth it. I'd really have to play Myst 3 and think about the storyline. I feel like if they were to do a remaster, Myst 3's puzzles and all the puzzles in Myst 3 are designed to teach the children of the main character how the worlds work in that universe. So playing Myst 3, if you took those puzzles and remastered them and moved things around, you probably would have a easier and more accelerated experience playing Myst 3 first, then playing Myst 1, then playing Riven, then skipping to Myst 4 and Myst 5. The entire series really would do well to do a full remake of the entire series and change some things up and add some things. Although, in all honesty, I think what they could do that, and they kind of felt like they were going to do that with their game Abduction, but then Abduction really didn't have uniquely different puzzles. It all kind of fell down to one or two puzzle ideas, and that was it. Moving on, we have new Gundam Breaker on Steam. It has mixed reviews, 45% of 229 reviews. Unfortunately, that kind of sucks because anytime there's a new Gundam game, I was thinking that might have enough relevancy to play. This game has De Nouveau in it. It's $49.99. Let's see what the negative reviews are. Too long didn't read. If you're a Gundam fan that didn't play Gundam Breaker 3, this game is a lot of fun. If you're spoiled like me and played Gundam Breaker 3, there are so many features missing from this game that you really miss it, and it will kill the game for you. Let's see. There's another review that says, this is not the Gundam Breaker you remember. Forget everything you loved about the series as far as collecting parts and UI of the previous games. So, yeah. Here's a review that says this game went all the way down to 92% off in the first month on Amazon Japan. It was designed to flop.
I must consider.
So yeah, the people are not happy with that game. Let's see.
Pinch of death cup, heel of shoe.
Job's done.
Fire, burn, and cold.
Next we have a game on Steam called Plunder Squad. It says it's a puzzle-oriented adventure game for 1 to 8 players. It looks like an MS Paint game. It's definitely not visually appealing. $6.99. No thank you. Oh man, I have just so many games still left. And it's been another hour. Let's see, we've got a game on Steam called Blood Card that looks like it's a Slay the Spire game. Clone. Was this the game that people were reviewing badly? Let's see. Yeah, I don't think I can recommend playing Blood Card because unless you've already played Slay the Spire, it's 30% off for $4.19, but also I think it's just too early access. Maybe later it'll be a sleeper hit. Gematsu has an article, the Kill La Kill, the game IF has an original story starring Satsuki Kiryun. So let's see. That means that the character who was seemingly the bad guy in the anime will be the protagonist in this story, which that should work just fine. Let's see, I'm trying to burn through things. A game on Steam called Space Tone, which is a rhythm game. I played rhythm games on my cell phone and yeah, it didn't really work. Probably because I have no rhythm more than anything else, but it just didn't feel like it was much of a fun game to tap the screen and hold the button down and drag a button. It's just too fast paced for a cell phone game in my opinion. Space Tone is 25% off for $9.74. It might be a good rhythm game, it might not. It's frankly just selling itself as a rhythm game makes it uninteresting to me. Man, there's just so many more games to cover. Let's see. I don't know even how we can speed this up. We don't need to talk about this game. There's a game called Vanir of the Dragon Star Echidus of the Dragon. It's due out for the PS4 on October 11th in Japan. No talk if it's coming to the West. It's JRPG. Myst 4 Revelation is also on Steam now. Which I really should buy these games quickly, because there's no telling how long they're gonna last. Probably I could buy the Myst 25th Anniversary Collection bundle and get a pretty decent off discount because I already own some of these games. If you want everything, then it would cost you $60. I'm not sure it includes anything other than Real Myst. No, it includes the Masterpiece Edition and Real Myst, and Revelation, and Uru Complete Chronicles. So it's everything you'd want. Myst 4 Revelation also might be the last Myst game. I thought there was a 5, but maybe it's not on Steam yet. Okay, we've got a Japanese-only game on Steam called Voice Actress 2. We'll close that tab. We'll close this page because it's just a rumor. We'll wait till that's confirmed. There's a game on Steam that is called The Cat and the Coop 4K Remastered. And this looks like it is clearly this is a troll game. This is clearly a troll game. Let's close that.
Your magic shall not save you.
Beware the shadow. Job's done.
We'll close some of these that are just coming out. There's a visual novel in Japan coming out for PS Vita and PC. Or it's coming out for the PS4, it's already out for the Vita and PC. It's called Zatai Kaikyu Gakken Eden with Roses and Phantasm. I'm not gonna bother spelling that. Let's see. Another visual novel called Yoshiwara Higabana Kuon no Chiguri for the Switch is launching December 20th in Japan. So we'll close that. Let's see, this game is only in Chinese, called a couple Chinese letters, You Are My Sanctuary. Looks like it's an RPG Maker game. Let's see, we've got a game on Steam called Mummy on the Run. Let's see what the price is. I should look at the prices first and then make the decision. Before I look at the pictures and try to sell myself on it, I should just say, by the name alone, does this game justify my time? Mummy on the Run is 15% off for $6.79. Now let's scroll up and say, yeah, it looks like a 3D puzzle game where you're trying to find different paths for the mummy to walk on, it looks like. And there's a bunch of switches on the panel. Doesn't look incredibly terrible, but doesn't also look like $7 worth of playing either. And see, I keep wanting to slow myself down just a little bit before I speed up again, because I don't want to get to a point where I'm just rejecting games for no reason. See, Mummy on the Run is made by what looks like a German company. It is somewhat trying to make decent quality products. But I can close Mummy on the Run because it's just too simplistic. Let's see, Gamatsu Arc of Alchemist Battle Trailer. We don't need to talk about that because that's just talking about a trailer. Yes, the entire Myst collection includes Myst 5 End of Ages. Yes, that's the one I wasn't saying. Yes, so you have Myst 3 Exile, Myst 4 Revelation, and Myst 5 End of Ages being added to this collection, or this new collection that was made, whereas Riven and Myst Masterpiece Edition and Real Myst have been on Steam for a while. And it kind of is weird, certainly, that because different people own the publishing rights to different versions of that series, they've just not been able to sell the full experience. And if, for most games, I would have never bought like Myst 1 knowing that I couldn't get Myst 5, but Myst is so impactful and important as a game that it was still worth doing. Looking at a VR game, which doesn't seem like it's really a game, called Teleporter, which is, I think, supposed to be a VR hub where people sit around and watch videos on VR TVs of other live streamers. Teleporter is free to play though, so if you have VR, you might want to try it out. I think it's kind of dumb as an idea, but to each their own. Let's see. I think we can skip Tech Raptor's coverage of the military simulation Minitary Girls released for Android. I believe this is another Nutaku game. Yes, it is. Mark of the Ninja Remaster launches October 9th, and since I have the DLC on Steam, then I should get the remastered version. There are achievements to go back and try some different things on Mark of the Ninja. I don't know if it's really worth it, though. Like, it's gonna have a new game plus mode, a true stealth experience, enhanced visuals. It's gonna include the special edition DLC, enhancements to the character and backgrounds, and remastered cinematics, 5.1 surround sound. So they're making it look real nice and polishing it up. It's certainly a game that I can understand the idea of not wanting it to be forgotten. Questionable who did that remastering. Was it the people who made Mark of the Ninja? Because I would have preferred for them to work on their next game instead. But I guess that's just a remaster I'll take. So. According to Gematsu, Steins Gate Elite for the PS4 and Switch launches February 19th in North America, 2019. I think we're going to get to a point where we're going to have to start leaving some of these games for Monday. And hopefully there's just no issue that comes about causing me to gain too many more games to talk about. Gamma Sutra has an article. Big Fish Games laying off 15% of its staff to focus on social, casino, and casual games. So this probably means that that we'll see less Big Fish games. We'll probably see less hidden object games for Big Fish games and more cell phone games that don't show up on Steam.
Meddlesome insects.
Let me change your mind.
See, there's a game on Steam called Action Card Football. This looks interesting, actually. I'm not big into playing American football or soccer or any other kind of sports, but the idea of turning it into a bit of a card game with some cutesy graphics catches my attention. It's early access and $9.99. I'm going to put this on my wish list to see how other people feel about it. GameIndustry.biz has an article.
Awaken my children.
Capcom is launching Street Fighter Esports League in Japan. I'm gonna just leave it at that title. Gamma Sutra has an article. Drawn to Death is closing down its online servers. This is a brawler where the characters were drawn at like pencil sketches. It was created by David Jaffe's now defunct studio, the Bartlett Jones Supernatural Detective Agency, which was a crazy name. So multiplayer and all online features will be going offline March 25th, 2019. Server shutdown falls a little over a year after the company itself shut down. Well, yeah. I want to see here. Really don't have time for it, but Drawn to Death for Metacritic has like 3 out of 5 stars. Seems like it's not even on Steam. So let's double check this.
Be gone!
Let's see. Platformers. Yeah, it only came out for the PlayStation 4, so I doubt too many people were playing it at all. Apparently, in promoting it, there was a video on David Jaffe's YouTube account where a game character reads through Jack Bomb's negative user comments about the announcement and insults them. Which, okay, that's certainly no way to win friends. Gamasutra has an article. Activision hits Spyro fan game with cease and desist order. Surprise, surprise. We get one of these at least once a month. Oh yeah, I guess Bowserette is a big thing too. I don't think there's really too much to say there. I don't see. It'll just be a meme and then people will get bored with it eventually.
The light shall bring victory.
This is odd. Zachtronics, the developers of Shinsen IO and Opus Magnum and Infinite Factory and Exapunks, has released yet another game called the Exapunks TEC Redshift player. So it seems like this player allows you to play Redshift games made by other Exapunks players. So maybe it's not a game so much as it is a adapter so you can play other people's games. Is it free? Yes, it is. So if somebody's playing their main game of Exapunks and they make one of these Redshift games by programming, because it's a programming game, you can now use this to play it, which, okay, that's cool enough. As long as it was free. Let's see what I want to do. We'll do that. GameIndustry.biz has an article. Pokemon Go's total revenue reaches over 2 billion. We'll just read the article headline there. Gamasutra has an article. Footage and concept art from Telltale's cancelled Stranger Things project have surfaced. Either this is not loading or it's getting blocked by my ad blocker. GIFCat takes too long to respond. GIFCat takes too long to respond. Let's click the link and see how that goes.
Quickly.
Okay, so going to the main thing.
Right away.
Yeah, this totally looks like a Stranger Things Telltale game. Bad animation style, for no real reason, in what probably is a bad Telltale engine. I mean, it's pretty rough. Pretty rough. And all I'm seeing is the mother and the kid who went missing in the first season talking to each other, and the kid is sitting in front of a computer.
Right away.
See, I don't know if this is just going in circles. No, it was just that the exact same image was posted 3 different times. Those GIFs certainly didn't interest me into really being upset about Telltale not making a Stranger Things game. I would like to see maybe Netflix, if they do want to make a video game based on their properties, that they put a little bit more focus and attention on it, and not just hand it over to Telltale, or companies like Telltale who aren't going to be super focused and do a great job on it. There's a game on Steam called Galactic Tree Frog. It looks like garbage. It's 99 cents. We'll close that tab. Let's see. We have a mixed rated 67% of 67 user reviews game called The Conjuring House, which I wonder why it's so mixed rated. The video looks kind of good. 20% off for $19.99. Let's see what the reviews say.
I wonder.
Let's see, we have a not recommended. The game crashed on my PC several times, needed a hard reset one time. I could play it. I have a 1070 GTX graphics card, which that is certainly a big enough graphics card to be able to run a game, pretty much any game.
Is someone injured?
Let's see. We have another not recommended. Glitches at the first room I opened in the house. No refunds either. Shame on you, Steam. Well, this guy has like 5 hours of gameplay. We have one that says, OMG, I was like optimistic and gave it a shot. Game starts and won't leave. The asking what language I prefer screen. Think that's as far as I can get in it. Please fix this game. Well, this person also has 3 hours and 3.9 hours. Yep, I've seen enough, I guess, to see that this game is glitchy, even if it sells itself nicely. So I'm gonna close The Conjuring House. Not super interested in playing horror games anyways. Hearthstone. While we're at it. There's another Hotel Transylvania game called Hotel Transylvania Popstick. It seems like it's a VR game where you're doing Beat Saber. It's just like a direct Beat Saber clone. Interesting. And it requires VR. It's in English and Korean. It's early access and it's $19.99. No, I don't think so. Like, you can't just throw a Pixar or Disney tie-in over a blatant copy of a game that already exists and think that competes. This game is interesting. We have on Steam Creed Rise to Glory, which is odd because the Creed movie has long since happened. It's rated very positive, 83% of 106 user reviews. Came out September 25th, 2018. And it's a VR boxing game. And we saw a bad VR boxing game on Monday, and this looks like it's better. Unfortunately, you need a VR headset. It's $29.99. I bet this game came out on PS4 earlier, and then it's just getting now from PS4 released on Steam. Hey, I've made it up to rank 18. So I'm gonna put this on my wish list even though it's VR. Just because. We have a game called Time Spinner on Steam. I saw Giant Bomb did a quick look on it. It's rated very positive, 90% of 95 users. I think that alone is enough to have me put it on the wish list. It's a Metroidvania-esque game. It's $19.99, no discount. But yeah, that'll go. We have a horribly looking game called Dash Island for 40% off for $5.99. Looks like a top-down adventure game. Maybe it's like closer to a race game. Like, I'm questioning if there's anything else you do in this game other than moving from point A to point B. Anyways, Dash Island is not interesting enough. Let's see. See, we're about 30 minutes over on this recording, and there's still so many games. I think at this point I'm gonna have to decide to only talk about the ugly games and just close those. So we have a game called Battle of the Britain. It looks terrible. It's 15% off for $1.69. Close. And if anything looks even slightly good, I'm just gonna keep it and we'll cover it on Monday. I am hoping what happens there is over this weekend not too much comes out
Right away.
and then we can have a longer Monday stream, which would be better than having a Friday stream any week. You try that. Game of Sutra has an article, Devil May Cry's microtransactions designed as an option to save time. This is BS because if you wanted to give a player options to save time, you would give them cheat codes, you wouldn't make them pay. It's designed to make you money. They're trying to downplay the microtransactions and saying, well, if you collect all the red orbs in the game, you can get almost every ability except for one. But yeah, it's definitely not a good way to promote and sell your game. Let's see, there's a game called Pathfinder Kingmaker on Steam. It's 65% positive of 1,329 user reviews. I think with that level of mixed reviews I can easily ignore the game. It's $39.99. It looks like it's a Diablo top-down style game. This game, by the way, also has several different versions, going up to $84.99 that you can buy. A small amount of unimportant mainstream video game journalists complained about Valkyria Chronicles, which was on Steam and rated very positive at 87%. Because there is a scene of a character specifically commenting on a girl's behind and grabbing it, which I assume, in the way I was reading it, for the screenshots I saw, was an intentional characterization of the character being sexually aggressive, or if not straight up misogynist, which showing characters in a neutral or negative light doing something is not an example of a game being the things they're showing. If that's the case, then you have to say the movie Roots is racist and should not be seen by anyone. Let's see. GameIndustry.biz has this article, Whose Game Is It Anyway? Graham McAllister finds that too many devs don't know who they're designing for. I would fully agree with that. Maybe I'll read this article later if I ever have any free time. Of course, the idea of me having any free time now that I've fallen even further behind due to the electrical problems is highly unlikely. GameIndustry.biz has an article, Xbox is reviving the XO event this November. XO 18 will be held alongside FanFest in Mexico with major announcements streamed online. So as the Sony, there is no Sony event. I imagine everything is going to an Xbox event. See, we already talked about Nintendo holding on to your saves for 180 days. Gamasutra has a video called The Mist Classic Postmortem from GDC 2013. Something I would like to watch. But I, again, won't ever have time. PC Gamer. How did I get to PC Gamer? Says Xbox PC Gamer has an article. Xbox 360 controller is the most popular on Steam, but PS4 devices are surprisingly abundant. It's a little surprising that PS4 their controllers have gotten better about connecting, but they certainly in the past have been very, very bad about trying to connect to PCs. And that was part of, I got to that article by the fact that Steam's own blog released some data about controllers used on the Steam platform. Let's see.
Medicine insects.
Job's done.
Healed the wrong one. I should have healed that one. Gamasutra has the article like Telltale Dev files class action suit over sudden mass layoffs. Suit alleges Telltale violated California's WARN Act, W-A-R-N, by failing to give 60 days notice ahead of a mass termination. We've heard about this. We'll see if it comes to anything. GameIndustry.biz has an article. Valve offers full support on Steam to all new controllers. Platform holder looks to address 22 million controllers still relying on user-created input configurations, which, you know, that certainly is a hassle. Let's see.
Amazing.
Let's see, we have a platforming game on Steam called Aliens Are Rude. It says it's an early access action platformer game. It doesn't look visually appealing. It's early access for 99 cents, so we'll close that tab. Gamasutra has an article. 2K launches the Foundations program to support underprivileged communities, which is nice of them. I'm sure that'll get them a nice tax write-off too. Let's see.
Your magic shall not save you.
See, Gamatsu has an article. Steins Gate Elite for PS4 and Switch launches February 19th in Europe. Here's a Japanese only game on Steam, so we can close that. We have a pixely game called Bad Neighbor on Steam. It doesn't look interesting. 30% off for $2.79. So we'll close that tab. Still leaving a lot of things open. Certainly. Just So trying to burn through all of these games. See, at this point, I'm not even looking at games. I'm just looking for news articles to close, so we can at least get the news done. Gamma has a get a job. Cryptic Studios is hiring a character artist for Magic the Gathering MMO. That's in Los Gatos, California. If you want to look up that job listing.
Well played.
Alright, I made it to
Medicine insects.
screw that. Made it to the Humble Bundle store, but I've finally realized what I did with my plugin, why there's so many tabs opening past the Humble Bundle store. It doesn't seem like there's any anything new. There's some Doctor Who books, and that's kind of it. 2 or less attack.
Job's done.
Give that minion a turn to get ready.
So many games. So many games left. I'm gonna have to go through some of these off screen too and just close the really bad ones, because there's no reason to really talk about the bad ones. It's just a matter of spending extra time looking at things.
The icy winds of Northland will consume your soul.
GameIndustry.biz has an article. Telltale Games was scuppered by failed financial round. I think we've already, yeah, this is the same Variety story, so I don't think there's anything new being reported there. Already talked about Drawn to Death. Already talked about Telltale being sued. Already talked about Telltale could have been saved by AMC Smilegate deal. A lot of these articles are the exact same thing, just rephrased. Did want to talk about this. I hadn't been paying attention to this clearly. The First on Discord initiative has launched with 7 timed PC exclusives. So Discord is trying to be its own storefront, and they have 7 games, one called Last Year the Nightmare, one called Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption, one called Minion Masters, one called Bad North, one called At Sundown, one called Mad Machines, and one called King of the Hat. None of these games sound familiar at all. So Discord certainly doesn't have a lot of money to get timed exclusives. From what it looks like. And I'm almost at this. Nutaku, I swear they released like 3 games this week. The Tech Raptor has another article for their game How to PUA. I don't know what PUA stands for. I'm not sure. I want to know. Set sail for the stars in Nutaku's latest game How to PUA-space, which looks like it's a match 3 set in the space game. We already talked about Ubisoft, Fig, and others forming the Blockchain Game Alliance. GameIndustry.biz has another article, Telltale Games and the Lure of the Cliff Edge. Disaster studio collapses are a fixture of the industry, and that won't change until we stop celebrating the brinksmanship of executives. This one is possibly a better article, so I'm going to hold on to that one and maybe read it off screen. And then I think this is the final bit of news. Epic will remove quote, embarrassing breast physics from Fortnite. The inclusion of breast physics from the latest update was unintended, says Epic. So we have a video of one of the Fortnite characters doing their ridiculous dance. This one where they're standing in place, moving their legs up and down, and they have their hands, they're, I guess, running in place, and they have their hands up, and you can see that the breasts are jiggling. Not a unrealistic amount, frankly. Probably a little bit unrealistic, but not anywhere as bad as Dead or Alive beach volleyball. If they want to talk embarrassing, this character also has an embarrassingly wide hip ratio for an embarrassingly unrealistic stomach. This is just unrealistic hourglass figure with really broad shoulders and really large cleavage. All the proportions are way off. And apparently some streamer brought this up. FaZe Agony tweeted this. So like, clearly somebody is working on the physics and the animations of the wireframe, and they intended it to not be that extreme, but they do want it to be, probably, I imagine, at some point realistic. You can definitely tell that this is a mistake though, because the cloth and her collarbone and neck are not moving at all. They are stuck to her skin and just like not animating. So if they had intended for this to work that way, it would have looked better. I'm fine with realistic breast physics, although in Fortnite, since so many kids are playing it, maybe you just don't delve into that water. Game of Sutra has an article, Get a Job. Wombat Studios is hiring a product designer. That's in Silicon Valley, California. And I've now made it to, I think, the end. Yes. Right now, I still have a ridiculous amount of tabs still open. And even just quickly scrolling down my Twitter feed, I can tell I already have some more What's on Steam games to add. I'm gonna have to go through it all off screen, though. I don't see the real reason to go through my Twitter feed on the stream, make people listen to me just scroll down. It seems like everything we tried real hard here. I am pretty sure we did 4 recordings, and this 4th recording is nearly 2 hours long. It's an hour and 45 minutes long. I think that's good enough for a stream. So let's end it here, and we'll just have a slightly longer stream on Monday when we catch up again. Or maybe we'll just perpetually always be behind until we are no longer behind. That's going to be it for this stream. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. When you subscribe, click the notification bell. If you want to friend or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, Steam, or Battle.net, all of those links are down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game or a gift card. I really like the Myst 3, 4, and 5 in particular. You can do that, or if you want to support me on a monthly basis, you can support me through Patreon. Information is down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.